Welcome to the Ever Celine podcast, the show that ignites your passion for leadership and empowers you to develop a culture of continuous improvement. I'm your host, Matt Sims, and in each episode, we bring you fascinating insights and invaluable tips from our incredible lineup of guests. What do they all have in common? They share an unwavering dedication to excellence and are the experts in driving engagement, improving metrics, and reducing costs.
The Ever So Lean podcast with Matt Sims. You know it makes sense.
Welcome along to the Ever So Lean podcast, where in this episode, we are going deep into the journey of purpose, alignment, and true fulfillment. My guest today is none other than Margarita Giles-Martinez, a dedicated purpose coach who has guided hundreds of women worldwide in discovering and aligning with their true purpose. After facing an existential crisis in 2019, Margarita reconnected with her authentic self and turned her transformation into a mission to help others do exactly the same. She specializes in inner alignment and self-discovery, empowering women to embrace their authentic selves and lead meaningful, fulfilling lives. Today, we're unpacking the hidden cost of doing everything right, why success on paper doesn't always mean fulfillment, and how misalignment can take a toll on both your mental and physical health. We'll also explore why energy, not time, is the real currency of success and how small, intentional steps can lead to big shifts in your life. If you've ever felt drained despite having it all, this conversation is exactly what you need. Margarita, welcome to the Ever So Lean podcast.
Oh, Matt, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for such a beautiful introduction.
Honestly, I'm so thrilled to have you. You've got such an energy about you, such a buzz and excitement. I can see it radiating from you now on the camera. So it's so great to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me here.
Tell us a bit about you then. Tell us your story. How did you end up in this space? Where did it come from?
Well, imagine having the job, the salary, the flexibility, the freedom, having ticked all of the boxes that show what is good on paper, but then just feeling rubbish and empty on the inside. This was back in 2019. And after I touched rock bottom and discovered coaching is when I realized, oh, hold on a minute. There's something that's called my why. And when I do more of why I'm here, it feels great. So that's why ever since then, it was a road towards me specializing on women, on helping women do the same. Basically finding why they're here and do more of that. It feels good.
I think someone said to me once, do your passion. When you find your passion, do your passion. And the feeling you get from it is far greater than any satisfaction you get from just getting a paycheck at the end of the month or something like that. And that's so true, isn't it?
100%. Like the main point is that we thrive on alignment. We don't thrive on ticking boxes. So whenever you're in alignment with who you truly are and why you're here, even if things get tricky, because it is a life, gives you ups and downs, right? You still somehow get the energy to go through all these things and just feel good overall.
So say you're sitting there now, someone's sitting there now and they don't, they do their job 9 to 5 every day, they earn a decent salary that, is giving them a life that's comfortable, but they're not happy. They're not enjoying it. They feel burnt out, downtrodden, frustrated, I'm just reeling off feelings that I've felt in the past. I think we could all sort of go, yeah, that was us. Yeah. How do they know what their purpose and their true self is?
That's a really good question. So I think the easiest way to spot if you're in alignment or not is spotting your emotional and mental state. So if your day to day feels like empty, like you're demotivated, like you have this thought inside of you, like, oh gosh, there's gotta be more to life, but I don't know what it is, but this doesn't feel right. Or if you just feel like you're going through the motions, chances are that you're living the ticking box life rather than a life of alignment. However, if you've left this emptiness unattended for a while, you may find yourself either showing some physical symptoms. In my case, for many years, like I did not pay attention to this emptiness that was inside of me for like 4 years in a row until I started losing my hair and losing my eyesight.
Wow.
So that was like the stop moment. Was my body like, stop this, like reevaluate whatever it is that you're doing. We need to stop and think about it. So you may start finding like some physical symptoms. Or there is this Spanish psychiatrist, her name is Marian Rojas, and she explained that when your life lacks sense, your body reaches out for sensations. So she explains that we are not built, or we're not wired to live not knowing who we are and why we're here. Like meaning is needed for us to feel grounded and feel okay. When we don't have that, the stress is so high inside of us that we end up, to self-soothe, our bodies reach out for sensations. And sensations is a different word for dopamine heavy activities. So anything like eating extra chocolate or smoking or drinking, any activity that makes us numb down that emptiness, if you find yourself gravitating to all of these dopamine heavy activities, doom scrolling, extra social media, that is as well a key sign that something needs addressing.
Wow. Doom scrolling. I've never heard that before. What's doom scrolling?
Oh, doom scrolling is when you're just caught on Instagram or on YouTube shorts or whatever, just like a zombie.
Yeah, I do that. I do that on TikTok. I just get lost in it. Like people do it on the toilet. If you go in a public toilet or a restaurant's toilet and you're in the cubicle, you can hear people in the next one doing the same. They're all on their phones.
They're
If you
all on
could
their
look from
phones.
above.
Yeah. If you find that you're extra engaged in those activities,
Yeah.
it's a sign like, okay, maybe there's something deeper that needs addressing because I'm trying to numb myself down.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you're trying to escape from your reality into
Ex-
another reality, isn't it?
Exactly.
Do you know, I had a period in my early 20s where I really hated my job. I was really unhappy in the role that I was doing. I felt trapped. And I went through a period of, actually, it might be just before it might be my late teens. And at that time, Blockbuster Video was still around, where you could rent movies and you'd
Mm,
watch them on DVDs.
best
And
plan for Friday.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, Friday evening it was packed, and I used to. I went for a period during that time of renting Nicolas Cage movies. I must have watched about 10 of his movies in a week. I just found that escaping into that hour and a half of Nicolas Cage being the hero or the villain or whatever he was doing, it just took me away from where I actually was and made me feel just happy for that period of time because I could forget, the unhappiness I had in my role and the fact that I had to go to work the next day and stuff like that. And I went through 10 movies in a week just for that. But I never realized until you've just said it why I was doing that.
We all have those periods in our life. And to self-soothe, we engage in such activities. Absolutely. Some people, there's some covert ones though. They're easy to spot as smoking, drinking, partying, doom scrolling. But there's other ones such as hyperproductivity, for instance. People that just bury themselves, overworking themselves. It's another way.
Right.
Yeah. But you wouldn't think so,
Wow.
would you?
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't know. It's only when you point it out you realise that you're doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, since I've been self-employed, I'm still doing 14-hour days like I was when I was employed by an employer.
Mhm.
The difference is I don't look at it that, I've got to go to work, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. I'm doing it through passion and enjoyment, and it fulfills me to do it. I don't feel tired. So it's funny, I used to feel really exhausted doing what I was doing, but I don't feel that same level of emotional distress that I used to have.
What you're saying makes so much sense. So, as I mentioned before, we're built to thrive on alignment with who we are at the core and why we're here, right? The problem is that from a very early age, most of us get told lots of shoulds and shouldn'ts in terms of how life should be lived. So, for instance, by this age, you need to reach this type of qualifications. These jobs are respectable. These jobs, God forbid, are not. Women do this, men do that. So, since we're little, in the educational systems, the cultures that we grow up in, etc., we get exposed to all of these shoulds and shouldn'ts, which means that in order for us to fit in, we end up disconnecting ourselves from who we truly are, our authentic selves. So our authentic self is, it's an absolutely unique mix of dreams, passions, talents, values, beliefs. Each one of us is unique. But in order to fit in, we disconnect with that unique self and we end up ticking all the boxes. When we engage in this type of work that ticks all the boxes, our energy gets completely drained. And I know like the word energy is a bit like, ooh, people are like scientific people are like, what do you mean by energy, right? Are you talking electrons or woo-woo stuff? Like a good way to illustrate this as to how our energy levels gets impacted by our alignment or not is if you think about a moment in time when you've spent time either with a person you really enjoy their company or doing something that you love. Like, for instance, your last big conference. How did you feel after doing that conference? Or how did you feel the last time you hung out with a friend that you really enjoyed their company?
I felt more energized than when I started, and I felt enthusiastic and excited about, what was happening, but sort of like I was floating on a wave. It was like a real buzz feeling.
Absolutely. And the friend example makes sense. But bringing back to the example of your conference was a 4-day full on, you delivering on stage, lots of things, etc. And yet you still left energized.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's because you were in alignment with who you are and why you're here. But the opposite happens as well. Like Blockbuster. No shade on Blockbuster. It meant a lot to all of us for many decades. But when we're doing something that we were not built for, we leave drained. We leave unfulfilled. We leave we leak our energy basically. So the more we do things that are in alignment with us, no matter if they're time consuming, because we can see through your conference that if it's in alignment, it'll leave you energized. The more we do of those things that we love, the more energized we feel. But the more we do things that are not in alignment with us, the more drained we'll feel.
You're so right as well, because it does start from being a child. We were taught that you grow up, you go to school, you leave school, you go to college, you leave college, you go to university, you meet a partner, you get married, you have children. The female stays at home, looks after the children. The male goes to work 9 to 5 in a grey suit with a leather briefcase. The female makes the dinner, and then you eat the dinner, and then you watch telly. You watch soaps in the evening, then you go to bed, and you do that Monday to Friday. Then at weekends, you cut the grass, you go out in the garden and trim the trees, and then your whole life is mapped out for you, and you feel that you need to fit into that mold. And obviously, in recent generations, that's not like that anymore. It's totally changed. But those of us that grew up in that time, and even those from before then, like your baby boomers, for example, it's like a structure that they had to follow vigorously. If you dared to stray from that structure, you wasn't normal.
Yeah.
Scary to think about.
Absolutely. Like lots of the women I see in my coaching practice literally come saying like, I've done everything right in my life. I got the degree, I got the master's, the PhD, I got the husband, I've got the kids. Like I'm doing everything right. Why am I feeling so rubbish? And there's an extra ingredient that is what actually made me ignore these initial symptoms before my existential crisis, which is the inner critic. Because when you're doing things right and you feel out of alignment, and you say like, oh, hold on, I feel rubbish. Your inner critic may jump in and say, Margarita, don't be so ungrateful. People would kill to have the life you have. People would die to be able to do whatever it is that you're doing. So that inner critic makes us sometimes ignore these signals from inside of us that are telling us like, we need realignment, we're feeling rubbish, we need to address something.
Do you find this is a bigger problem for women than it is men?
I think it goes same for both, to be honest. I just work with women because it's where my heart tells me that my why is. I know that my purpose is to work with women, but I think men encounter, although different expectations that makes them disconnect from who they truly are, but it's the same. I think it's societal conditioning in general.
Yeah, I completely agree. I wonder if it's different if you look at different parts of the world. It'd be lovely to see a study of how, what are the trends and patterns you see in different cultures, particularly in places like Japan. That would be a really interesting place because Japan, they are very much about working with your Zen, focused, doing things in the right way. It's all about people and reflection. And I wonder if they're similar.
Well, I've not dug into the mental reports, but but what I can share is experiences from my own clients depending on their cultures. Like I know that in the Far East, there is a lot of value is placed in getting like a very solid corporate career. That is very important. It's part of the culture. Like, you've made it when you're
Yeah.
working for a big corporation. For something more towards the Middle East, it's all about intellect. So becoming a PhD, like getting these academic accolades are so important at a cultural level. In Latin America, and I'm just going to share my example. The conditioning starts so early that I just knew that as soon as I graduated school, I was going to go to university. I just knew that that was the dumb thing.
Yeah.
It's the way we do life. I didn't even question it. So all these things are weaved into our cultures. And unless we do the exercise of spotting, hold on a minute, what is the set of beliefs I'm operating from? What results is this giving me? Unless you do that exercise of observing your belief system, we can keep on going on autopilot and on and on and on.
And is it normally, from your experience working with these women, is it normally an event that triggers this mindset to suddenly change? Does something happen in their life, like it did with you actually, where you had that event that changed things? Does it take that really to spur people on sometimes?
So, very good question. So, if I understand correctly, what you're asking is like my clients reach what point when they come and seek help?
Yeah. Is there something that happens that makes them think, do you know what? I'm really not happy and I want to change this. There must be something that's like the tipping point.
Yeah. So, a few tipping points. The most recurrent one is I hate my job. So, that's an easy one.
Yep.
Another one is about moments of transition. So, for instance, after maternity leave, lots of my clients are like, I was really happy in the rat race before, but now I don't feel fine having to have this ridiculous, working hours when what I feel at this point in time I'm meant to be doing is having a different lifestyle or becoming a more present parent or whatever. But as well, I work with ladies after retirement as well. So it's like, okay, I've done the money, I'm admired. That's all done.
Do they say
What
that?
am I
Do they
gonna?
go, I'm admired? I'm admired.
No, but they're already accomplished people.
Yeah.
They don't need to prove anything to anyone.
Yep.
But it's more about the question, what am I gonna leave behind? It's like, okay, so what am I meant to do now? What is gonna be my legacy?
Yeah.
So different turning points. I hate my job. The other one is I feel lost or stuck. If the word stuck is like what you would describe as to your current situation, chances are you need purpose alignment.
I could imagine that COVID and lockdown was a massive trigger for many people because you got to experience what life is like, when you're at home more. And I actually had that myself. I used to travel a lot in my corporate role. I had frequent trips to North America, long haul flights. I was away for a week at a time. And I missed so much of my eldest two children growing up through travel. So my eldest is 12 and my middle one's 9 and my youngest is 2. And those of you that are really good at math would work out that the 2-year-old was a COVID child.
COVID baby.
Yeah, COVID baby. But the thing was, have had her during COVID, I was home for everything. Like I didn't have the paternity leave like you would normally have, where you stayed at home, then went back to work. I was home, working from home the whole time. And I got to experience so much of it. And it was a double-edged sword for me, because I absolutely loved being home and seeing the changes, the hourly changes at sometimes that they go through. But it also made me reflect and realize how much I'd missed of the older two. And then eventually it was, 1 day a week, 2 days a week. Now we want you in 3 days a week. Very quickly it grew to a full week again. And then it was, now we want you to travel again. You need to start going around Europe, whatever. And I just felt this urge that doesn't align with me anymore. I loved it when I was doing it, but now I've seen the other side and I don't want to move away from that. I would like a balance between the two, or the other side completely. And I'm wondering if a lot of people went through something similar, and that's triggered this alignment piece in them.
100%. After COVID, people got a chance, well, not got a chance, most of us were forced to stop and reevaluate, like, what the heck are we doing? Because if you're running nonstop on autopilot, you're just like with the inertia just going forward. But when you stop and actually feel like, oh, how do I feel living life at this rhythm? Yeah, 100%. Lots of people were like, yeah, I feel like I want a more grounded, more rooted lifestyle rather than moving around. However, I do have clients that are the opposite. Oh, yes. And that's why it's important to go deeper into getting to know ourselves for who we truly are. Like, I had some clients that decided to stay at home to be a present mother for their kids, but they truly thrive on traveling, on getting to see new people, on sharing their message. They used to go on lots of work trips and they stopped doing that. When they stopped doing that, because they're in alignment with that, they were completely drained. Their life was completely unfulfilling. So then the work was to find this alignment. How do you get yourself some of those conferences in Europe? How are you going to get yourself out there so that you can find the alignment with what makes you energized?
Yeah, I think it happens a lot with people when they retire, don't they? They're all go for 50 years in a job, for example, and then they retire, and all of a sudden they're like, well, I've got nothing to do now. What do I fill my days with? They slow right down, and quite often when that happens to people, their health can take a big hit because they're not active like they was before, mentally and physically. Is that the same sort of thing?
So I think that being not in alignment with our purpose, based on the scientific theories I've explored, not being in alignment is massively stressful for our bodies. And if we leave this unattended, we will start showing mental, emotional, and physical health symptoms. With people in retirement, what could happen is like, yeah, maybe they were super in alignment with their job and now they're left in the void. So that might be stressful for them. All those retired people that are like, what the heck? And they go back to work.
Yeah, yeah.
It could be that. It could be that they were in full alignment with the pace of their work or the cause of their work. Who knows? But another thing that could have happened is that they were in absolute misalignment and in survival mode constantly throughout their lives, that when their nervous system got to calm down and stop, they got ill. Your body, when it's in like a fight mode, you don't get ill.
Yeah.
But once the stress passes, then is when you get the cold, the cough, like all those things, like all the built up pressure that you didn't address before. So
when I was working in corporate world, I always worked in industries that were really busy around Christmas time. And the build up to Christmas was always super hectic. And I used to find I'd work flat out up until Christmas Eve every single year. So for the last 20 years of my life, right, flat out right up until Christmas Eve. And then I'd always have the week of Christmas off. Mm-hmm. So then I would stop. And without fail, I would always be ill during that week. And it became a running joke with my wife, like, you're going to be ill next week. I'd feel exhausted. I'd feel groggy and run down. I'd have a sore throat and I just wouldn't feel right.
Lots of my clients have friends that have this frenemy dynamic that we're sort of bullies and are like, is that serving you? Like, you need to do something about it.
You have forced fun, and we force ourselves to go to the Christmas party. We don't really want to go to that Christmas party.
We either resonate with people and with situations and jobs and settings, or we don't.
Don't want to be standing in a bar with them with alcohol fueling your loose lips.
We're talking about how you feel after you spend time with people that make you feel great. How do you feel after doing a job that you don't like or hanging out with a person that is not in resonance with you?
I want to get the corporate job that pays all the money.
It's just what it is.
Margarita, do you like pineapple on pizza?
It means that we're dead.
Want to take your leadership, team performance, and business transformation to the next level? Then it's time to think differently. At Ever So Lean, we do game-changing leadership development, high-performance coaching, and continuous improvement that delivers real impact. Trusted by businesses worldwide, endorsed by industry leaders, and recognized for excellence. We deliver industry-recognized programs, dynamic workshops, powerful keynote talks, and expert coaching to help businesses and individuals unlock their full potential. With lean thinking and a people-centric focus, we reshape the way people think, lead, and perform. Visit www.eversolean.com, because where people thrive, performance follows.
Are you ready to elevate your team's ways of working? Are you seeking fresh insights and growth opportunities? Our experts will assess your team's practices, providing valuable insights for improvement and celebration. Reward and recognise your team with this certification tailored specifically for creating an improvement culture. The BQF Academy accreditation acknowledges your journey, outstanding outcomes, and future plans. Whether you utilise Lean, Six Sigma, project management, or continuous improvement techniques, this certification celebrates your incredible work and positive impact. Propel your team's performance to new heights with the BQF Team Excellence Culture Certification. Visit www.bqf.org.uk today and let's celebrate your success together.
13-time Shingo Prize winner Dr. Jeffrey Leiker and Toyota Kata author Mike Rother have created the Improvement Kata and Coaching Kata online course. This inexpensive, compact program is designed to transform your thinking and approach, making you a highly skilled learner and coach. Engage in deliberate practice to turbocharge your progress. You also get lifetime access to the materials, including all of the bonus interviews. Why pay up to 10 times the price elsewhere, listening to some consultant, when you can gain direct insights from the masters themselves? Skip the rest and go with the best. Join us today and embark on your journey to excellence. Just click on the link below to start your journey.
And it's because I'd worked so hard, like you say, because I've been go in the thick of it, really doing it. And then you suddenly slow down and everything about you changes. Your energy changes because you're slowing down. That's when things start to just hit you, don't they? Bang, 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 bang. And then I go back to work in the first week of January feeling more exhausted than when I was working flat out before Christmas.
Yes, absolutely. I don't know where we got this from. We think we can fool our bodies.
We do, don't we?
Yeah.
We do.
And then Christmas comes, we're all feeling horrible, showing up all feverish to the family gatherings. Yeah.
But it's funny though, we force ourselves, like even in those scenarios around Christmas, like you have forced fun at work and we force ourselves to go to the Christmas party. We don't really want to go to that Christmas party. It's bad enough spending time with some of the people during work hours when you're getting paid to do it. You don't want to be standing in a bar with them with alcohol fueling your loose lips. It could be dangerous.
Absolutely.
When I was in the supermarket the other day and the poor lady was rushed off of her feet trying to dart between all the different checkouts where the red lights were coming on and people's bags weren't being registered, and she was so stressed. And I felt so sorry for her because she hasn't even got, I'm assuming here, so I might be wrong, but she hasn't even got that, I earn a really comfortable salary and I'm really well looked after to fall back on. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't imagine she's in alignment with her inner self doing what she was doing, running around super stressed like that. To be in a position where you know that this isn't where you should be, it doesn't align with your inner self, but you're trapped because you've got bills to pay, you've got kids to feed, you've got a mortgage over your head. That must be a really difficult position to be in. What would you say to people who are in that position that know they're not doing what their true alignment is? How do they get around that?
Oh, that's a beautiful question. So, aligning with our who and with our why can be approached from many angles. Obviously, the obvious one is either doing your ikigai or getting yourself a purpose coach so that you write down who you are, why you're here, and do more of that. But another way that is super sustainable to start aligning your life little by little, because obviously it's not an easy jump to say like, okay, I'm quitting my temporary job that I desperately need to pay my bills and I'm going to become an artist. Like that doesn't work like that in the practicalities of life, right? So a really good way that allows you to gather the energy that comes from alignment with purpose is identifying what activities, contexts, people, situations energize you. So what are these activities that make you feel good? And super important in here to make a distinction is not dopamine good, that is that hit of instant gratification. No. We're talking about how you feel after you spend time with people that make you feel great or when you have a walk in nature. For each person, all these things that bring you well-being will be different. So find those and slowly build a pocket of doing 1 hour of that activity. If you're busy, you can start with creating one pocket a month. Let's say that what energizes you is painting watercolors. Set yourself a 1 hour a month of uninterruptedly painting watercolors. You will see that after engaging in this activity that makes you feel good, that makes you enter flow, you will leave energized. And little by little, you can start carving out more little pockets of doing these things that make you feel good. The reason why they're making you feel good is because they're in alignment with. So you don't, like the only way to find alignment is not like turning your life 180 degrees and leaving it all behind. No. You can start creating little pockets that make it sustainable. And little by little, you can start turning your life around.
Oh, so this is really important. So my mind automatically jumped to major change, complete life overhaul, sell that car, doesn't align with me. I want a nice new Ferrari. And I want to get the corporate job that pays all the money. So small, like a hobby, a social club, something that you really get joy from. Do something like that as often as you can, even an hour a month, like you say. That will make the difference.
That'll automatically make you feel more energized. And the idea is to play this balance of doing more of what energizes me and less of what drains me. Just back to the example of hanging out with someone that we love energizes us. How do you feel after doing a job that you don't like or hanging out with a person that is not in resonance with you?
Yeah.
It's like you feel super drained, right? So it's this game of doing more of what energizes me and less of what drains me. And super important to note that sometimes in life, we'll face a situation in which we cannot get out of things that drain us. Like parents at the beginning with babies. They're not able to sleep. It's that sad reality of life.
Yeah.
So based on whatever context you've got, even if you have non-negotiable drains, bring more of your energizers and make it sustainable. That'll bring your system back to balance.
We've all experienced meetings and maybe even family members. I call them drainers. These are people that just exhaust you. They just suck every ounce of energy out of you. And I can't even explain how it happens. It's just being in their presence just completely deflates who I am. And I leave feeling like, gosh, that was hard work. Yet other times you can go to a meeting or meet with people where you're with them for 3 times the amount of time that you was with an individual, yet you feel energized and electric. I was in a coffee shop last week in the airport, and the people in coffee shops seem to lose all self-realization of who's around them and how close people are, and they just talk rubbish, right? So I was sitting in this coffee shop for an hour, and all of these people, they all follow the same pattern, sniping and moaning about other people behind their backs and They all say buzzwords and it's just all this stuff. And I walked out of that coffee shop after an hour and I felt absolutely exhausted. And I wasn't even talking to anyone.
Of course. Of course. It makes so much sense. This is a sign that their unique, authentic selves is in dissonance with your own authentic self. And chances are, as you will know, because I didn't hear you judging them, chances are that they're good people as well. It's just that we either resonate with people and with situations and jobs and settings, or we don't. What we got to do is spend more time with people that energize us, right? Because I do get it. Like, you just leave feeling drained. And it's just because their resonance doesn't match ours.
And let's be honest, right? It's really brave and it's not a bad thing to be able to say, do you know what? That person doesn't align with me, or I don't feel like I fit in that environment. It doesn't work for me. It's okay to feel like that. You don't have to stay there because the social culture that you work in says you go and do that. It's actually okay to go, do you know what? This isn't for me.
100%.
That's brave.
100%. Honestly, I feel that if we don't preserve our own energy, no one's going to do it for us. And I agree with you. There's lots of cultures, for instance, in mine, in Latin America, it's like family first, no matter what. You know, there are people that have a horrible time with their families, but because of this cultural load of family first, no questions asked, they're forced to be in environments that are not fulfilling or not healthy for them. So I agree with you. I think it takes courage to say, like, I don't feel this is a healthy place for me. But as well, I think that when you do it from a hard place, not like, oh, you guys are not good enough for me or are better than you. I think that's what causes a bit of anguish when it comes to expressing that you don't want to be there anymore. But when it comes from a place of, like, honestly, nothing personal, I just feel that this is not healthy for me. There's nothing scary about expressing something from that place, right? Because you're not belittling anyone or saying that you're right or wrong.
No, not at all.
It's just what it is.
Do you find that there's sometimes you might find people do align with you for a period, but then you kind of outgrow them and that alignment disappears and then you move on to a new friendship group, or because your inner self is changing over time? Do you find that happens?
100%. 100%. We're ever evolving beings. If we're not ever evolving, it means that we're dead.
Yeah.
So it is normal that our level of resonance with people in our life changes and evolves as such. One of the recurring things I find is legacy friendships. You know, like those people that you were super close to early on in life, that you've had so many important moments together. You come to your mid to your late 30s and you're like, I've got absolutely nothing in common with the person.
Yes, so well.
So it's a work of saying, like, okay, like, is this person harming me? Because it could be. I've seen in lots of my on my practice, lots of my clients have friends that have this frenemy dynamic that were sort of bullies, and are like, is that serving you? Like, you need to do something about it. Or it's a matter of finding settings in which you can make those friendships work. So maybe you find that your friend is not the best at traveling together. Maybe you just catch up with them on the phone. Friendships do evolve and resonance either increases or decreases.
Like you say, it's not a personal attack on that person. You're not saying they're a bad person or they're a bully or whatever. It's just you change. Because I look back at people that I was friends with and I used to go to the pub with and I'd go out clubbing with, and I suffered severely with anxiety. I hated doing those things. And those friends were really supportive of me during that period, but I have nothing in common with them now. And to be in their company now, that's not me. I'm not that person that they knew 20 years ago. I've changed so much. I always said that I would never want to see the people that I went to school with. Yeah. Terrible experience at school. I was like, I never want to go back there. And I'm in my early 40s now. And I actually genuinely feel now at this age, if I was invited to like a school reunion for my year group, I would love to go. And I would go in there such a different person because I'm comfortable with who I am. I know who I am. I know what works for me. And in the nicest possible way, I couldn't give a if you don't like me or not. If you don't like me, you're lost because I'm great.
Of course. And that's the beauty of being anchored on who you truly are and why you're here, that you become unshakable.
But isn't it a shame that that comes at later in life where you really need that when you're younger, when you're making decisions, there's lots of pressure, you're deciding where you're going to go. You need that then, really, don't you?
Absolutely, absolutely. But the universe has this funny way of making us learn lessons. It's like, let me help you find out who you are not. Boom, punches,
Yeah,
kicks in the face,
that's it.
earthquakes.
Yeah, kicks in the gut.
Yeah. And they're like, okay, I kind of know now who I am. Thank you.
So it's almost like learn what you're not to know what you are rather than learn what you are.
Absolutely. Learning by contrast. Absolutely.
And you're right, though. It is. It's the best lessons. I mean, some of the hardest experiences I've had as a leader have taught me the most about who I am as a leader. Because I've realised who I don't want to be and how I don't want to come across to people, how I don't want to impact people. And I do the opposite because of that. If I hadn't have had those experiences, would I really understand the impact of my actions? Probably wouldn't.
Oh, absolutely. And I think this point that you're bringing is so interesting because I think as humans learn from our own experience and from coming up with our own conclusions. Imagine like if people had taught you how to be a great leader, but unless you have seen what it is to have a horrible boss or seen what it is to have a horrible leader by yourself through your own experience, you may have discarded that lovely lecture someone gave you on how to be a great leader. We need to go through the experience to then make our own decisions and implement whatever it is that we're meant to be implementing. That's how we learn.
It's exactly how we learn. So it's funny, we always think that money is the greatest currency of success is how you put it. And it's true. We often, the first thing you look at when you look at a job application is what's the salary? How much will I get paid? When you go to somebody's house, we all do it. We walk up to the house, we look at the road and we're like, oh, this road's not great. And we judge the house and then we judge the inside of the house. It's all about money. And I mean, you've got a really great way of putting it. The greatest measure of success is your energy and how your energy works. It's really difficult to explain. So say, for example, you're in a place where you've got all of the lovely stuff. You've got the nice house, the nice car. You're in a really comfortable place, but you're not aligned. How do you even go about changing that? And I know you said it before about doing the hobbies and stuff, but it's such a difficult place to be when you are comfortable and you've got a family and everything's paid for. That's the bit I get stuck on, is how do I actually change that? How do I know what my true alignment is?
Honestly, it's a matter of doing the work. If you're a solo learner, buying your book on Ikigai, that I know you've done a podcast episode on that, figure out who you are, why you're here. Or if if you learn better on like a therapeutic setting, get yourself a press coach. If all of the hobbies, if you're doing all the things that energize you and there's still something that doesn't feel right, you need to bring on the artillery, I'm afraid.
So it's really about doing that inner work,
Yes.
really getting to understand and asking yourself the right questions.
Ask yourself the right questions. Unlearn who you think you are, learn who you truly are, and that real authentic self, what is it coming here to do? Why were you born? What did you come to do here on earth, at least in this lifetime?
Someone once said to me about the hell yeah. Have you heard of the hell yeah scenario?
No.
If someone asks you to do something, if it's not an immediate hell yeah, you probably don't want to do it and you're just going along with it for the sake of it.
That's a really good thing. Mm-hmm.
But it's true, isn't it? Like, how often do I do stuff where the immediate answer is definitely not a hell yeah? So often I've been invited to weddings or parties or things like that are 6-7 months away, and you send back the RSVP. Yeah, I'd love to come. And as it gets closer and closer, you think, I really don't want to go. I really don't want to go. And then you're thinking of the excuses not to go, and you turn up for the sake of turning up. Your energy is low. You don't feel like being there. You can feel the energy in the room is low. You're not aligning with what's going on in the room. And it's forced, and you clock watch. You can't wait to leave. If we really look at that type of scenario, who are you pleasing there? Because if you're not happy, the person who's invited you to that party probably wouldn't want you to come if you felt like that. So they're not going to be happy. All the people that are there that you're not really connecting with and you're just a bum on a seat in the corner, they're not happy. Why do we do it to ourselves?
I agree. Honestly, it's funny that you've read my mind. No, so yes, I fully agree. And I think we need to start normalizing our right to change our opinion on attending places. Of course, it's not the same if someone is hosting a wedding in which they're
Yeah.
paying lots of people, lots of money to feed each person, etc. Maybe in there we can be a bit more understanding. But like, I think we need to normalize changing if we want to go or not to a place and not take it personal. It's not about, like, as you were saying, I'm doing a disservice to the vibe of the event if I'm just showing super grumpy, tired,
Yeah.
pretending that I'm having fun. People pick up on the energy.
I used to get really offended if I was invited to a wedding and they said no children. How dare they exclude my children? What's wrong with my children? They are part of me. They are my children. And I used to get really angry and probably fall out with the person. I'd decline the invite but wouldn't talk to them again. And right, so if that was you, I'm really sorry. I just didn't want to come to your wedding. But it's now I look at it very differently, and I still don't go because I wouldn't leave my children because they are part of me, and I'm a believer that children in a wedding scenario, children are really one of the factors that make it so lovely and special on the day. They had an energy to it, an innocence energy that's not there otherwise. But I now think about it, well, that individual is paying for people to be there, and they might have lots of guests that they want to invite, and the children of people they're friends with or family with, they're going to cost them money and come at the expense of someone else. And I now look at it very much, and I didn't know I was doing it like this until I've just had this conversation with you, but I now look at it that they're just in a different place to me, and their energy and their alignment is different to mine, and that's okay. It isn't me being right and them being wrong. It's just a polite decline. They can then use my place for someone else who they might even prefer to invite than me. I was just on the list through rank and family membership or something. But it's actually okay to not align with someone and just be honest about it.
Absolutely. I think that if we get rid, like as you're phrasing it perfectly, I think if we get rid of the judgment of there's
Yes.
a good one and a bad one in this case, no, there's no good one or bad one. There's either resonance or lack of resonance. No one is the goodie, no one is the baddie. It's just what it is.
But the trouble is, we go to school and we're taught true, false, right, wrong, correct, incorrect, pass, fail. Everything is so black and white. Everything is you're either in the right camp or the wrong camp. There's never well, actually, we're both right. When that's been ingrained in you for so long, it's very, very difficult to change your mindset and think about it in a different way. It's unnatural.
That's why it's so important to do the work. As I said, like first unlearn or at least bring awareness to the subconscious programming that's been running your life since forever. So that once you get that weed out of the way,
Yeah.
you can get to see like, oh, this is me. These are my hopes. These are my dreams. These are my beliefs. This is what energizes me, the way I communicate. These are my passions.
Thinking about it now, right? If I go out into town, and when you're in town, you interact with people, you might pass somebody in the car park. When you're queuing for the car park machine, you might share a smile with somebody. In the shop, when you're being served, in the coffee shop where they're making you a cup of coffee. I can see now, I'm thinking about it, people that are comfortable with their inner self in what they're doing, because you can see the energy and you can feel the energy from them, and you have a really good interaction. And as you look around, you can actually see the people that aren't without even speaking to them. You can just see it.
Oh, wow, this is beautiful. Absolutely. At least in my personal experience, I definitely can see who's like grounded and happy in being who they are. Because, first of all, you just feel it. But as well, they don't have these overcompensating behaviors, such as being really loud or like showing, look how much money I've got, or look at my flashy stuff.
Yeah.
Or like, whenever you're grounded in who you truly are, you don't have anything to prove because there's no facades to keep, right? So just like, yeah, this is me. I'm here. Hi.
And society might perceive that as arrogance, but it's not arrogance. It's just being aligned with your inner self and knowing who you are and what values and what you like and what you don't like.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think the point in here to keep in check is when you're grounded on ego is when the arrogance kicks in. And a clear indicator is that whatever you're doing is either to be seen, heard, to self-aggrandize even in a sneaky way, or to deprecate someone else even in a sneaky way. If there's an ingredient of someone's better than the other, that's ego. You're being arrogant. Go to therapy and sort yourself out. But if you're doing it from a place of groundedness, you know that you're not better than anybody. You're both peers. You're the same. Each person is in their own journey, learning through contrasts and difficult moments. But at this point in time, I choose to behave for who I am and hang out with people that bring me good energy and that I'm in resonance with. This might change, but it's from a more grounded place. It's not depicting any goodies or baddies or better or worse. Do you see what I mean?
I absolutely do. Yeah, I really do. I think it would be really apt to bring our conversation to a close, really, with a couple of tips from you. Do you have any tips that you would offer people that are sitting there now thinking, do you know what? This is me. I'm now going to search for my inner alignment. What would be your sort of lasting tips?
Okay, so the first one is, yes, I heard this sentence a few weeks ago. It says, pain will push you until purpose pulls you. So if you have this call inside of you, like, oh gosh, there's gotta be more to life. I know there's something else, or I don't know who I am. If you feel that call from purpose, my tip is to go and address it. Go ahead, get your Ikigai or find a purpose coach. But if you decide to do what I did for 4 years and pretend that call wasn't there, the universe will start putting more pressure on you until it's so annoying that you gotta do something about it. So if I were you, I would do it before it gets too painful. The second one is to try and spend time in settings, doing activities, or in the company of people that remind you how good you are. Not necessarily because they're adulating you, like telling you, oh, how great you are. No, but that the way that you feel in their presence reminds you of your beautiful characteristics. Find a tribe that loves you for who you are, that is not asking you to change anything to fit in or giving you unrequested advice. I think those two things are super important. Do the work and find a tribe that loves you for who you are.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Do you know what? And I'm going to vouch for Margarita here. She wasn't reading that. She hadn't got that from any. She literally, they're things that have come from her inner self. And it's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Thank you, man.
Right. Now I've made you feel really good. I'm now going to make you feel really bad, Margarita, because we're going to play the yes-no game.
Now I'm getting nervous.
Yeah, I can see the sweat on your brow. You're getting nervous. So how this works is I'm going to offer you 3 options: card number 1, card number 2, or card number 3. Now, this will give you your given subject for today's fun.
I have a question about the game. I'm not allowed to say yes or no. Can I say positive, negative, or nothing that implies yes or no?
You could say positive or negative. Yeah, you could say
Let's see if these 7 years of meditation have helped me.
Yeah. But you can't say aha, or shrug or something like that. You give a verbal answer, ideally that is actually accurate to the question that was being asked. Okay,
so my card is number 3, please.
Yeah. Card number 3 is card number 3 is pizza. This is an easy one.
Lovely.
Pizza. It's quite fitting, actually, Margarita, and you're talking about pizza.
It's alignment.
It's alignment. We'll find out if it's alignment in a minute. So what you're going to hear is some really intense music in the background. If you hear the gong, that will mean that you said yes, no, or a variance of yes, no, and you're out. If you hear clapping and shouting and screaming, that means you did it and you did really well.
Beautiful. I've got my eyes closed. I'm bringing my zen in.
Right, here we go. It's the yes-no game with Margarita. Is she aligned with yes, no, or not? Margarita, do you like pineapple on pizza?
Negative.
Have you ever eaten pizza for breakfast?
Absolutely.
For lunch?
Absolutely.
Do you prefer thin crust or deep dish?
Oof, Chicago deep dish.
Why is it better?
Because it has more filling.
Interesting, more like a pie. Would you rather have extra cheese or extra toppings?
Ooh, extra cheese.
Extra cheese. Do you like the reduced fat cheese or normal cheese?
Normal cheese.
Did you say normal cheese?
Absolutely.
Have you ever made a homemade pizza from scratch?
Never in my wildest dreams.
Would you like to?
Bingo. Absolutely.
Have you ever tried dessert pizza?
Those Hawaiian crucified with scratch.
It does, yes. Well done, you did it. That was probably the best performance I've ever seen on the Yes No game. You were, if you could see her now, right? She's sitting there. She had her eyes closed. She's looking up at the sky, and you could actually see her really getting in the zone. It was absolutely a joy to watch. It was brilliant. You deserve to win.
Thank you for the people that are considering doing meditation. It works. This is the first proof in 7 years.
Yeah, there you go. Positive. It is. You absolutely smashed it. Well done. And you got quite far in as well. I think we did 9 questions then, or 8 questions. That's pretty good. That's a lot of questions. And I even tried the trusty "Did you just say?" because that catches people out quite a lot. That's my go-to.
Good.
Well done. Absolutely amazing. Margarita, before I let you go, where can people go to learn more about you and connect with you if they want to have a chat with you about their inner self and alignment?
Of course. So I'm on LinkedIn as Margarita Giles-Martinez, and I'm on Instagram as MGM Purpose Coaching. That's it.
Fab. And I will put links in the episode description below so people can just click away and connect with you.
Yes, please.
You've been an absolute joy, Margarita. I've loved having you on, and it's been a really fascinating and eye-opening conversation, and I'm hoping other people feel the same as well.
It's been an absolute honor to be here with you and to share this message with your audience. So thank you for having me here. I really enjoyed it.
So some key takeaways from today's amazing conversation with Margarita. As we grow and evolve, it's completely natural to outgrow certain people and parts of our past. Revisiting those earlier chapters of life with a renewed sense of self can be empowering rather than intimidating. When you're truly grounded in who you are today, the need for external validation begins to fade. Pain is often the gateway to purpose. As Margarita beautifully put it, pain will push you until purpose guides you. Life's toughest challenges often reveal who we're not, guiding us towards who we truly are. While advice and theory can help, it's lived experience, especially the hard ones, the tough times, that become our greatest teachers. Real growth happens when we reflect on the moments and choose a new, more aligned path. And it's seldom the easiest path that delivers the best rewards. Success isn't about material gain, it's actually about energetic alignment. Without that inner alignment, achievements can feel empty. Our energy speaks volumes, often louder than any status or title. It's what people remember and what people connect with. That's why it's so important to adopt a hell yeah filter. If something doesn't excite or resonate deeply, it's probably a no. Saying yes just to please others often leads to burnout and disconnection from ourselves. It's also perfectly okay not to align with everyone or everything. Different energies don't mean one is right and the other is wrong. They're just different. We need to normalise respectfully stepping away from what doesn't feel right without guilt or judgment. Much of our conditioning teaches us to view life very much in black and white. Success or failure, right or wrong. But awareness allows us to move beyond that limited thinking. Doing the inner work helps us unlearn outdated programming and step into a more authentic way of living. There's a key difference between arrogance and grounded confidence. Ego-based confidence tends to be loud and exclusionary, while true confidence is quiet, inclusive and secure. When you're truly comfortable with who you are, there's nothing to prove. Finding inner alignment starts with that internal nudge, the one that whispers, there's more. Don't wait for discomfort to turn into suffering, and most importantly, find your tribe. Surround yourself with people who love you as you are, who uplift your energy, and who celebrate your truth without conditions or expectations. And that brings us to an end of this episode of the Celine podcast. Thank you so much to Margarita for joining us today and really helping us get comfortable with our inner self and understanding where our purpose is and how our energy really does work. I found some of the things she was saying really eye-opening for me, and it's definitely changed the way I look at things that I do and the way that I go about getting myself out of certain situations. It's not a right and a wrong and a nasty and a good. It is, there really is something in it and about what aligns with us. Now, if you enjoyed today's episode and you would like to hear more, be sure to subscribe and follow the Celine podcast on your preferred platform or visit everceline.com. And whilst there, you can catch up on any missed episodes and explore all of the services that we now bring, including CI accreditations, leadership coaching, consultancy, podcasting service, and even event hosting. Thanks so much, and I'll see you on the next episode. And don't forget, where people thrive, performance really does follow. The Celine podcast is researched, produced, and recorded by Matt Sims. Visit everceline.com to find out more.